Woo! Hello, my beautiful ducklings. Your friendly Grumpet here, and I'm back again with another Steven Universe vlog. And today's episode is Gem Harvest. And in this episode, Steven's going to visit Peridot and Lapis down at their little old barn place, and he comes across them making a little farm of themselves, making a little farmville. And he sees that Peridot thinks that when she crows these, stalks of corn, that the corn is actually going to come alive and be like it's a little old army sort of thing, like something out of Courage the Cowardly Dog. And when Steven tells him that isn't true, they're pretty disappointed. So he uses his god-sentient powers to just, low-key lick this, pumpkin seed, whatever. He can just create sentient life. That's no big deal. He just does it for fun. He's quirky that way. And lo and behold, this little pumpkin dog thingy comes alive. But after Steven brutally murders a pumpkin right in front of its eyes, it's friends with Lapis and Peridot now, so it doesn't like Steven. And, anyway, that's pretty cool and everything, but then there's this guy with a plane, and his name is Andy DeMeo. And he comes back to the barn, and he's like, wait a minute, this is my house. And they're like, no, it's not. It's, Lapis and Peridot's house. And, they call the gems in, and Greg recognizes Andy as his uncle, his brother, He's Steven's uncle, alright? He's Steven's uncle. I think it's his brother. It's not his brother. Is it his brother? It might be his brother. You're gonna tell me in the comments anyway. But the point being that Steven has an uncle that he didn't know about. That's Greg never told him about. Also, Greg's real maiden name, if you will, isn't Universe. It's DeMeo. So it looks like he passed DeMeo. I suffer inside. So, that's pretty fine and dandy, but Andy wants his house back, and when the gems don't give it back, he tries to find any way he can to sort of understand what the heck is going on with this whole situation. How did Greg get a son? Where's the wife? Who are all these weird people? And he's sort of just pretty accepting with it. And then, through this series of events, that sort of just shows him being really, really just cool with the entire situation, he decides to have dinner with the gems, and the gems go and they make him this nice little Thanksgiving feast. And when they're all sitting around the table, they're talking about how thankful they are of this and that and all this fun stuff. And when they're talking about how thankful they are that they have this family together, Steven considers the gems obviously family, and especially with the newer addition of Peridot and Lapis, it's, it's such a family that they can all be together and all that fun stuff. And upon hearing that, Andy decides that he's going to let Peridot and Lapis keep the barn, and he just sort of gets up and leaves, and everyone's like, well, do we say something? So Steven and Lapis go try to find him because he flew off in his plane and he's flying over the ocean, and there's this really cool, I'm pretty sure it's a Pocorosa reference, but, knowing Rebecca Sugar, it probably is some sort of Miyazaki reference, but I digress. Steven tries to, understand why Andy's so mad, and it turns out that Andy was just sort of disappointed that when he did try to have a family himself, with Greg and his, aunt, what's her name, Aunt Sally or whatever it is, whenever he tried to do that, he was the one who stayed in Beach City, like a family should. They shouldn't leave, but everybody else besides him did, and, there you have it. That's actually a really interesting thing that I'll get to in a minute. But Steven's like, hey, you have us as family, and then he's like, alright, cool. And then Steven jumps onto a plane, and it's a really stupid idea, and I don't know why he did that. But he gets on the plane, and they fly back to safety, and everybody's just pretty happy. I don't know if Andy's going to be a regular character now, but it's cool, whatever. So, yeah, this was the big episode that everybody was like, oh my god, Gem Harvest! They're going to do, this is going to be the time Homeworld comes to Earth! And nope, just like that watermelon, no, not the watermelon one. Whenever you expect there to be this big Steven Universe thing, this big scary episode because the title says something, like those Rising Tides, Falling Skies one, but Ronaldo in his little web series, everyone was like, Rising Tides, Falling Skies, the homeworld's gonna come to Earth, and they're gonna explode everything, and Steven's gonna see his mom, and Garnet's gonna explode, And then it wasn't. It was just this really lame episode. And so this time around, everybody was like, Gem Harvest! And they saw all the promos, which is pretty much, like, I saw the promos. It's just Lapis and Steven and Peridot playing with that little dog thing. They don't show Andy in any of the promos. But, like, everyone was like, oh, he's playing with a dog. What if the dog is Yellow Diamond and the dog knows where Rose is because she's not dead? Well, this is gonna be the greatest episode ever. And no, it wasn't at all really a changing episode. I mean, I'd give it more than I'd give the Bismuth episode because Bismuth, it didn't contribute anything to the storyline. This one, it gave a little more insight into Steven's family and, you know, how Greg acts around the family. But really, no, this wasn't like the episode that, like, took the storyline of Steven Universe and just, like, threw it off the table and was just like, now we're gonna reinstate business. It was alright, but it was the hype that really killed it. Everyone was like, this is gonna be the episode that destroys the universe. And it wasn't. I guess the election destroyed the universe. Hey-oh, I'm not going to make political jokes on my channel. But I digress. So Andy, like I was saying before, is really in the half, you know, this is a little bit longer than a normal episode. He has about, 10 minutes to himself. Really, in those 10 minutes, he's a really interesting character. He gives a lot of insight as to Greg's past. And what I like about it is that Greg's an established enough character that some imagine Greg is just like this template, right, with little holes in it, and all those little holes you don't know about him, and sort of like these, Andy just comes over and he sort of just like fills in some of the holes, but he doesn't bluntly say. He's just not like, my real name is DeMeo, and yours is Universe, and that must be why you changed it, because you're crazy. That sort of just, like, fills in a little bit of a hole to, like, just his character. Like, he doesn't flat out say things like, yeah, Aunt Sally didn't want Greg to stay home because he thought she was a rocker or whatever like that. He sort of just, like, subtly says things that you yourself, as the viewer, can sort of put together with what you already know about, Greg, a character that we all know so well. And that's really smart character building, because that doesn't just show that the character you're introducing is pretty strong. It shows that what you've done with the already established character, being Greg in this case, is really effective, because people can relate what they know to Greg. Like, he's like a key to the map of Andy. Like, if you don't understand something about, Andy, you just sort of fill in this part that Greg has already sort of told you. And that's really, really smart way to, write characters, or write a character arc. This would be a lot harder to do in a movie, but in a series of episodes, we're at nearly 110 episodes in, this is just a really important, thing that they should start introducing more characters that don't flat out change the storyline, but smooth in some of the gaps that some people didn't really need to know, but sort of might have been a little curious about, and that's really good storytelling. That's just how you tell a good story. I mean, that you just have characters and other characters, and when they interact, it's not just like throwing exposition at each other. You're saying things that can fill in the hole of already established exposition. It's really smart. I think that's really cool, and it is cool, and props to the writing team on this one. But besides that, I mean, it's a pretty nice looking episode. It's got all those nice sunset colors that everybody likes to see. Like I said, that Porco Rosso sequence on the water is beautiful. There's just this scene where Lapis is holding Steven over the water, and then like the water shooting up, and it just looks really pretty. There's like this solo shot of just the plane riding alone. It's a very pretty looking episode, and yeah, overall I think it was a fine episode. Did I think it was going to be the hype nation that everybody else did? No, because I've been around this fan base literally since the first day it was on, and I understand, guys, you really can look at the title of an episode and be like, whoa, this is going to be the one that changes everything, because it's not. So stop hyping yourself up, because then you'll just get even more disappointed. I just wanted this to be like, it's going to be another episode of Steven Universe, and it was. And even if it was a game changer, it's still just another episode. I didn't really expect this to be the one that, turns it, gets it that star on the Walk of Fame, because it was just, the meteor that destroyed, everything! No, it was a really good episode. It had really good characters, good interactions. that's it. Stop hyping up episodes if you don't know anything about them. I will see you guys later. The next episode of Cartoons vs. Cancer is in 2 hours. Unless you're watching this after November 19th. Then, I don't know what. Just watch the one with Steve Hickner. But if you're watching it right now, the next episode of Cartoons vs. Cancer is at 2 p.m. today, November 19th, 2016, with Steve Hickner, the director of The Prince of Egypt and, yes, the B movie. We'll see you guys then. Goodbye.